Conference will now be recorded.
At 1:58. I'll open the meeting at 2.
Okay.
Does everybody know it's actually April Fool's Day?
Yes.
Yes,
So we all need to behave. No
Why?
playing jokes on
I don't want to do that, no. That would spoil everything.
Yeah, it
I
sure
saw
will.
you, Debbie. You shouldn't pick your nose.
I know, Al.
Okay, Al.
Let's see. I'll open the meeting now.
Okay.
It is pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GLC 30A subsection 18, and the governor's March 15, 2020 order concerning impositions on strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. Meeting in the town of Upton will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. We will strive to provide access to such meetings via a link to call in or similar options in the session, the meeting as soon as possible following the same. Board of Health, Richard Desjardins, Wednesday, April 1st, 2020, 2 p.m. Okay, I will open the meeting officially, and we will look at the general business open, let's see, review agenda.
I'm
Has
good with it.
everybody looked at the agenda?
Move to accept
Yep.
the agenda.
Second.
Okay.
Ted, are you on? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, done. Next.
Okay.
Guys, it's Kelly
Yes.
again. I don't mean to interrupt. So a couple things. One, because you're virtual, every vote has to be roll call. So you have to say your last name and A or nay. And secondly, there's the chat function to the right-hand, or I see it on the right-hand side. It looks like a little bubble with a chat. So I just put a mention in. I just put something in there. So you should have something lit up that says 1. So for the public, if you have any questions or comments, you should write those in the chat functions, and we can monitor that to respond to them moving forward.
Very
Got
good.
it.
Does everybody see that?
Al
Yes.
Holman, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye.
Ted Briggs. No, I'm on the phone.
Okay. Everybody has reviewed the agenda and we just voted on it. Review meeting minutes. I cannot vote on that one, but it's up to.
Move to accept the minutes as written.
Second that motion.
Huh? You second? Al
Yep.
Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Okay.
Okay, and Richard cannot vote on that. Okay.
Well, review, yeah, review and sign vouchers, which I think we can officially vote on it and have Diane or Kelly sign them.
Okay, I move to accept the move to sign and approve the vouchers.
Second.
And Richard Desjardins makes it unanimous.
I vote Al Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye.
Okay.
Okay, discuss COVID-19 for the town of Upton.
Richard, if you don't mind, Trish is actually online, and nobody knows COVID-19 better than Trish. If you guys can allow, she only has 5 minutes before she has to jump on another conference call. If we could allow her to talk right now, that would be helpful, if that's okay with you, Richard.
Yes.
Hey, Trish, all you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I believe Upton has been doing a wonderful job with continuity of operations. The planning has been going on for many weeks now to keep the COOP plan, the continuity of operations plan, moving along, changing each week, reviewing what needed to be done in the next week, and then adapting what we've learned. And the changes in guidance is coming so quickly that I think it's been wonderful that all of the town departments have been meeting virtually or have been passing, by night or something and, updating each other with emails and phone calls. I believe that the COVID-19 press coverage and written coverage has been extensive. I don't know that I can add too much to it unless people have specific questions about what may be rumor and what may be actually true. But for the most part, our public health risk communication plan has not changed. It is social distancing, meaning even if you have to go out and that's okay for the few things that the stay-at-home order allows. If you do have to go out, that 6-foot distance is very, 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 and I can't stress very enough, important. Washing your hands remains probably second to social distancing in this particular virus. It's the second most important thing we all can do. Staying home and calling your primary care physician immediately when you have any kind of symptoms. We're not seeing, in any public health setting, we're not seeing only the fever, only the cough, only the shortness of breath, which are the classic criteria for COVID-19. And at the beginning were the only way you could get tested. You had to be in the hospital and be experiencing those symptoms in order to get tested. Now that is not the case. We've realized that there are many ways that this virus that is a cousin to common cold viruses and SARS and MERS, there's many ways that it can be presented in different people. And some has to do with if they have underlying disease, some has to do with their age, some has to do even, we may think eventually we may find out it had to do with the sex of the person. But right now we do know that many, many different symptoms have presented and they turn out to be COVID-19. I'll give you an example. Some of the younger folks that we've seen or talked to, the only symptom that they have is a loss of their sense of smell. So we've heard that as a rumor that maybe that's around and maybe that's part of the picture, but to be the only symptom that presents and then have that be actually positive for COVID-19, it's really kind of eye-opening. So there may be a lot of people, I guess the lesson is there may be a lot of people still getting out of their houses that don't feel very sick. And in fact, we're even getting some information today that the CDC and the World Health Organization is starting to reevaluate the benefit of covering your nose and mouth when you leave the house with cloth or with a scarf or with a bandana or with a makeshift mask, certainly not with surgical masks or N95 masks that need to be for the first responders and for our healthcare workers. But covering your nose and mouth may be of some benefit to other people. In other words, it's not going to keep you from getting the virus, but it may in fact keep somebody else from getting the virus from you if you don't have any symptoms and you're out and about. Because what they're finding is about 25% of the people who come down with COVID-19 in a 48-hour span, they were able to transmit the illness. About 25% of those that come down with COVID-19 about 48 hours before could transmit the illness even with no symptoms. So if you leave the house and go to the grocery store and you put on your covering to your nose and mouth, you're protecting other people because you don't have any symptoms yet. So the chances of you really spewing it onto somebody else are very slim. But this way, your particles, your little respiratory particles, don't get aerosolized, and they don't end up being on surfaces and being somewhere where somebody can come right behind you and touch it. It's not going to decrease illness by a ton, but it may be somewhat protective. And it's another tool to use in addition to social distancing and washing our hands. Keeping in mind that washing your hands before you touch your nose, mouth, or eyes, after you've touched a surface, even if it was full of COVID-19, if you wash your hands for 20 seconds with soap and water before you touch your eyes, nose, or mouth, you should not end up contracting that illness, even if you had fresh COVID on your hands. So obviously there's a lot of fear being promulgated by different things. One of the things that I think is contributing somewhat to fear is, and you guys are going to have to be the decision makers on this, obviously, but the state of Massachusetts has asked the towns to please keep reporting COVID-19 cases by county. And a lot of towns, including us at first, chose that, oh, well, we want to be transparent. We want to show, we want to show people what we have in town. However, the thinking behind this is to stay with the county numbers is because in small towns, it is incumbent upon public health, and especially me, who's the one doing the cases and the contact investigation, to maintain anonymity. We are trying to stay HIPAA compliant as much as possible. And unfortunately, in small towns, as everybody knows, if you only have a couple of cases or a handful of cases, it's not going to take long before the chatter goes back and forth and the name is out there. Now, if the person puts their own name out there, I can do nothing about that. But I think it's very important that we try to maintain anonymity as much as possible. And the reason I say that is because the number doesn't do anything to change our risk communication. We are not going to behave differently as a public health department because of those numbers. We're just not. And in fact, it gives some people a very false sense of security, because what's going to happen is in a small town, we might only have a few cases, but those are laboratory confirmed cases. And as this goes on, there is going to be a lot of doctors on their own who are going to tell their patient, hey, look, you don't feel too bad. Don't bother going to get a test. It looks like a duck. It walks like a duck. It quacks like a duck. It's a duck. You have COVID-19, and they're going to tell them to stay home, which is fine. It's fine. Most people can handle this disease at home. But we're never going to see that case as a case in Upton unless I get it through the grapevine, okay? We're not going to get that from the state of Massachusetts. And the only numbers that I'm reporting are the ones from the state of Massachusetts. Now, they said that they would prefer that everybody stay with that. It is a local decision. They can't tell you not to do it. They're just trying to tell you all of the reasons they don't believe it's prudent to do it. So I think unless you guys have any other questions for me, I can tell you in an overall kind of thing, Upton is doing really, really well as far as confirmed cases, and everybody's being very, very compliant. When I call, they're not holding back information from me. They're not hedging me about contacts. They're being very forthcoming. I think everybody is very aware that we're in a critical time for this illness, and we need to do all we can to interrupt the transmission of the disease. And anything anybody can do, in addition to the common practices that I mentioned, at the start, we would very much appreciate it. So, and it will do nothing but make our town healthier. So that's my little soapbox thing.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you,
well.
Trish.
Thanks.
Okay. All
That's
right.
Excellent
I'm
job.
I'm here for just a little bit longer. I can stay on till 2:30, so if anybody has any questions, feel free.
Well, let's finish
Okay,
the
we
the
have
recommendation for
guests,
construction.
I think, that would probably want to talk. We have Ann O'Brien and we have Debbie. Anybody wants to say anything, you're welcome.
Hey, Richard,
Yes.
let's finish the construction recommendations too. Let's
Oh, yeah,
get
I have
that-
to do that.
Pardon?
Construction.
Yeah. The
the
recommendations that Diane and Trish came up with, they crossed off some items on the suggestions that the governor made on construction sites. And I think that the ones that are removed are fine. And let's vote to accept that with those changes. The other one.
What are we accepting?
Okay.
The Governor Baker's construction guidelines for construction sites. You should have received that by an email.
Other page, Diane.
Yeah, see, that was something I was not able to put up there.
It's a PDF. You can't open a PDF. I've got it open on my
I've got it on the website. I don't know if I can get to it without the website. But I've sent it to you.
Diane, this is Kelly. You should be able to do it. Just click on your browser down below.
Yeah,
and
I
go
can
to-
do that as long as everybody doesn't mind being patient.
No, go ahead. Get her done. Because I agree with the changes you've recommended. You and
Okay.
Trish.
Can I just, this is Trish.
Yes, go
Richard, can
ahead.
I just jump in for a second? Diane went over that document really well. And for Upton, we have so few large projects, and the things that we took out of there were that a health person would have to be on site. It was pretty frequently in order to make sure they're doing this, that, and the other thing. And, I think the affidavit kind of thing, or not the affidavit, I don't want to use legal words if they're not legal. The
Agreement.
document that Diane drew up that they're going to sign clearly states that they've read and understand the governor's mandate, and that we can pop in. It doesn't prevent us from popping in. It just takes
Right.
away the mandatory visiting of there and that kind of thing.
And it is now on the screen if anybody wants to look at it.
So the changes that you've made, I'm fully supportive of, and the rest of it looks pretty good. So I, for one, would ask that we take what he sent, modify the list so it takes out those items, and vote to accept that as conditions of construction.
All right,
And
now,
this is the-
question
Go ahead.
on that. Are we just doing an item on that as far as the construction? Or are we going to
So-
do a thing where we will accept, and back all the governor's regulations on COVID-19?
With the exception of what Trish and Diane have marked as exceptions.
So
Have you got
it's
a copy?
like a watered down version, Ted. We're going to adopt them all except for they don't have to have like a physician come and take temperatures and stuff like that. We don't have the manpower to do that.
Right. No, that's all right. So what we'll do then is we're going to make a motion that the town of Upton will go along with the Governor Baker's regulations on COVID-19 and then insert less those items.
With the
Yeah, we'll do-
exceptions of those items. Right. We'll just take them out.
So in this document right in front of you, the contractor, the owner of the company would have to sign this document in front of you saying that he has read the guidelines and he will enforce them, and he has to sign and date it. We'll make sure that every, most of those regulations were meant for great big contractors in Boston. We can adopt them for Little Upton, just to take out a few of the big heavy things.
Interestingly enough, as I understand it, the governor has a list of exceptions, and one of those exceptions is housing, construction sites that are doing housing. But I personally think, based on what the thing says, I personally think that we should just send it to the major construction companies that are building things here in town, and
Right.
with the exceptions. So I would move. I'll make the motion. I move that we accept the governor's recommendation with the exceptions that are noted on the document that Trish and Diane submitted.
Second.
Okay, I'll make that unanimous. And
Okay.
also
Al
now
Holman.
we have to put a voice vote on this.
Al
First.
Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, yay.
What was that again?
Ed Briggs, what did you vote?
I voted yay.
Yay. Okay.
I'll vote yes. That makes it
Okay,
unanimous.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I would suggest now that since we're on the COVID-19 thing and Trish has a time issue, we ask if anybody in the audience has any questions on this.
Yes, I
already
have-
did that out. Thank
Huh?
you.
I have one from Ann O'Brien here.
Okay.
Can I answer it?
Absolutely.
Okay, so she asked a question for me, where are people being directed to go for COVID-19 testing? And is that specifically for COVID-19 or coronavirus? COVID-19 and coronavirus are the same thing. We are using the acronym COVID-19 because it differentiates this coronavirus from other coronaviruses. So the pandemic coronavirus is COVID-19. So I hope that clears that up. And the other thing is where do we direct people to go for testing? We don't. You would call your primary care physician. That is still the method being used because we have not gotten to a point where we're doing screening. The testing is not being used for screening for COVID-19. So it is being used at the discretion of the primary care physicians. Or an urgent care physician that you call ahead and ask this question to, they may be able to give you an order to go to a surrounding area. Milford Hospital is running an outside drive-through, if you will, testing site. And I know a lot of people have been directed to go there by their primary care physicians. Some who are related to Reliant say they go to Reliant themselves. Some doctors' offices that have the ability to test are actually coming out to parking lots and doing the test and sending it to their labs. So there's a variety of ways, and we feel that that's probably going to hold up for a while until there's just a blanket. Either if you have symptoms, you have it, or there's a blanket, we're going to test everybody. So in the meantime, call your primary care physician if you have any symptoms, even the mild ones that I mentioned, especially if you're in a high-risk group, over 65, or somebody with underlying illness. You would want to call your primary care and they will direct you where to go for a test. But you do need that doctor's order before you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Trish. Anybody else?
Wait a minute.
Questions?
I'm just gonna interject here though. The CVS in Shrewsbury is offering testing to people over 65. Debbie, if that's the one that was testing first responders, they had closed down for a deep cleaning, and you may have information then they're up and running again and that they're focusing on people over 65. I was not aware that they had changed their focus, but that may be the case. They were used as a pilot program for testing first responders at the beginning of the outbreak. So they had closed down, and maybe this is going to be their new focus, which would be great. It would be really nice. But I do believe you still need a doctor's order in order to get tested. Now, it may be that they have a doctor or somebody on site that would be able to say, okay, you have a symptom, we'll test you. I'm not sure of that.
Thank you.
I don't
does
see
that
any other
take
questions
a-
from me.
What's that?
I don't see any other questions from me. Does anybody have anything?
No, I'm all set.
Okay, I'm
Thank you,
gonna
Trish.
hop off if you guys don't mind. I'm getting close to the next one.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Trish.
All right. If anybody comes up with something when I'm off, just write them down for me, Diane, and I will answer them ASAP.
Thanks,
Sounds
Trish.
good.
Okay,
Okay.
take care, guys. Stay well, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Now we'll get to the meeting, review septic designs for 154 Glenview Street.
Okay.
Okay, let me just bring that up.
Yes, do we have, Diane, the report from our specialists on it?
Yes, so actually 154 needed more revisions, so we're not going to be reviewing that one at this time. They came back from the agent that it needed some more revisions.
Okay. Then we have 178 High Street.
Okay, just going to bring that up.
Oh, there we
Now,
go. Yep.
I'm really sorry, this is not the biggest plan ever, but it's the best we're going to be able to do. This was reviewed and approved by our agent. This is a repair.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll vote on it.
I move to accept.
Second.
I vote to accept. Yes.
Al Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, unanimous vote. Now we also have, let's see. Okay, Lot 2, East Street.
Okay, let me bring that one up. Okay, this also was approved by, hang on one second, by our agent.
Good. I can't blow this up in any way, so I'll
know.
have to refer to our agent. So
This is
anybody
one
wanna
of
vote on this?
Afonso's. I'm sorry, Richard. I didn't mean to talk over you. This is one of Afonso's, his project across from Amato Farms.
Right. Okay.
Everybody still there?
Yeah. Anybody want to vote on it?
Yeah, I move to accept.
Second.
Unanimous. Do we have to vote on it?
Yeah,
Yep.
Al, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. It's a unanimous vote. We also have 5A Wildwood Ave.
Okay, there's
Um,
actually somebody here online that wants to talk to us about this one too.
Okay.
Okay. I've lost visual. Kelly, you still there?
We can
I
still
am
see
still
you.
here. So did you turn your camera off? Look at the
No,
bottom.
the camera's on. Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see
We
you.
can see you.
I can't see you.
Did
Oh,
you close your laptop?
no, I'm on my system at home.
Okay.
Somehow I have lost the picture.
I'm trying to think. So at the bottom, does it say mic, camera, screen at the bottom?
No, it just says, do you want to open? Oh, wow. Okay, and it says, okay, I'm in a session. Right now, it doesn't, whew, I got nothing but, I got a screen. Have a great meeting.
All right, so do you have a little icon at the bottom of your screen that looks like a little flower, orange and white?
Oh, I don't have one of those.
All right, so I actually think you should pause the meeting right now for a second, and he should go right back into the link and see if he can get back in.
Okay. Okay, we will pause the meeting.
All right, Al, so sign out and try to sign back in with the original link.
Oh, sign in. Oh, okay. Hang on.
So you really should should X out of whatever you're in, because maybe we'll get them twice.
What's the password?
689-198-973.
Read it off to me again.
It is 689
689
198 973.
Al, you have to exit out first. You have to get out and then sign back in.
Okay, so how do I quit this thing?
So Al, when you X out, go to the website, the Upton website, and go to the posting, and the link is there, and just click on that
Oh,
link.
Okay, quit. I'm just gonna quit this puppy.
Okay, what happened to Richard? Oh, there you are, Richard. Okay.
Is
Now go to
Al
the
playing with
website.
this computer again?
Oh. Oh. Meeting. Right.
I'm finding it really confusing, Al, that we can still hear you when you supposedly X'd out.
Yeah, I clearly don't understand what's going on here.
I don't either.
Clearly, do not
So-
understand.
So close out all your browsers. Close out everything. Like X out of your Google or Internet Explorer, whatever you're using as a browser.
I'm out of everything. Oh, I'm
Then
out
you
of
must
it.
have,
Oh,
then you
go to
must,
me. All right, I'm back.
you're back?
I'm back. I
I
figured
don't know what you did, but glad you're back.
I'm not sure, but I figured out what I did.
All right, I'm still listening. I'm looking, as they like to say.
Okay. Now,
Now,
when this
we
is,
have a plan in front of us.
yeah,
This is
This is 5A Wildwood Avenue, and John
Yes.
is here to talk to us about this plan.
Yeah.
okay.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. I thought it'd be good if I called in because this plan isn't final. We're just looking for a pre-application review. It's a 5A Wildwood. It's a difficult lot in the sense of how it's laid out. It's a very long and skinny lot. There is a building on the property. Thank you. That's good, Diane. Blowing
zoom
up a
it up a
little bit.
little more.
Yeah.
Trying.
There you
Where's the
go.
septic?
Okay, Al, I'm going to interrupt you here. So what you can do on your screen, if you look at where she's showing it on the right-hand side, there's an icon that says plus, where you can zoom and minus. Do you guys have that?
Oh,
No, Diane,
Yes.
go back to yours. I'm
Okay.
looking at the committee members. On the right-hand side, there should be an icon that says plus, and you can zoom in, and then you can drag it so you can see what you want to see.
well, I see the plus. That's her plus. I don't see my, oh, I got you. Gotcha.
Got me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, cool.
Richard, are you good? You see what I'm saying? So, and then if you click on the picture, you can drag it so you can get to a certain area.
Yeah, got it. Okay.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
the existing bedroom is here, and the septic system is,
Right. This is an existing building, and
Yeah.
the reason we're talking it up now is this has some kind of unique history. It's a building, but apparently not a residence. So we initially did some test pitting near this cabin, thinking that we were looking for as a replacement system. But as it turns out, after further conversations with the building department, it's not listed as a residence. It was in the tax assessor's list, but that was mistaken. So the reason that's important is now we need to find a new system location, and we're not eligible for variances from Mass DEP. So what I have here is a preliminary design based on these soil conditions that are here. It's a similar soil. It looks sandy. It's the same mapped unit across the site. And further to the toward the main road, yep, thank you, Diane, perfect. There is a location where we would be able to fit a fully compliant Title V system, provided that we find Class 1 soils and the groundwater table is deep enough. So I'm not prejudging it. I know we need to do perk tests and test pits. But the reason I'm coming before the board is, so we've got a system that we believe after we do the test pitting and we do all the final checks, we may have one that's fully compliant with Mass Title V, but we would still need 2 variances from the local ordinance. One with respect to placement of a septic system within 100 feet of a wetland, and the other one with respect to placing the well within 100 feet of a wetland. So when we came up with this design that said, this could work, this could be fully complying, we just said, let's just hit the pause button and check in with the board, because after the confusion we had about the house, initially we thought in this case it's better to talk more, have more conversations and less, just so we're all on the same page. So the reason for the pre-application meeting today was, and I did have a conversation with Paul McKeon as well, and he thought this design would be fully complying if, once it's finished. But from the board's perspective, it was just to test the waters and say, are you guys even open to the idea of allowing a system within 100 feet of a wetland and a well that's within 100 feet. Now, there's nowhere on the site where we could be 100. There's just too many wetlands, it's surrounded by water. So we literally have, I think what we have here is the best we could do. So that's the kind of question I had for the board, just to see if we could get a sense of what your thinking is.
John, how far are you from wetlands?
So on the if I zoom in, Diane, do you guys zoom in?
I can try. Every time I zoom in, I don't have the right side of my screen, so I can't.
Oh, okay.
If I zoom in, I lose the placement of the system.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if that helps you or not.
Yeah, that does. There you go. Now you're centered. Perfect. So between this wetland right here, well, I'm moving my mouse, but you don't see that. The wetland to the left and the wetland to the right, we have about 52 feet on either side, and that's, the only
So you
spot.
have 52 feet to wetlands?
Yeah.
The statute, the law says 50 feet, doesn't it?
Right. So
yeah, but Upton's regs are 100.
But say again?
Upton's regs are 100. The
Right,
state is
that's what I
50.
said. Right, we use 100. The state regulation is 50. And then the well is the same. It's 100 too.
That's right. On the well, we are, I think, 26 feet from the water, about, what is it, 16 feet from the BVW. And, we could, on the well, we could move it closer to the driveway and give a little more space to the BVW. But again, these are regulations and the variances we would need to come strictly from the Upton code, not the DEP code.
Well, I'd like to hold and have one of our specialists and one of our members go and take a look on the ground, because this does not, I can't really see anything as a whole. I've been trying to move this. I would prefer one of our agents going out there with you, and also one of the members. Either Al, I can't leave the house for another probably 12 days, so
I can go if we set it up.
okay, Ted, that would be good. Thank you.
That'd be great, Ted. I'm kind of limited too for a lot of different reasons, but
right.
John, we can do this by email. I'll get in touch with Paul McKeon and Ted, and we'll see if we can't set up a time.
That's great, Diane. Like
Okay.
the two ribbons, like
The
on the
50
second, you got ribbon
The 50
B29 and D7, so you can get a real good sense of, where that would go. The property's been surveyed, so we've got those lines nailed down. And all the ribbons should still be up, so you could get a sense of it. And again, I'm not looking, obviously, I'm not putting before you a finalized design, so I'm not looking for, an approval. Just a sense of, if you said, hey, no way, there's no way that could happen, then we're kind of stuck because, but if you could live with it, we would do the next step, which is get the perk test done, come in with a design, and then present that to the board for approval.
Yeah, the septic system is far enough away. The 50-foot regulation, that one doesn't really set me free, but I understand the well. That one concerns me. I mean,
Yeah.
6 feet, that's not very far from the water, and so you're really, it's a distance that concerns me. The well specifically.
Right.
So I'd be glad to hear what Ted thinks when he takes a look at it.
Something to think about
That's
on
the
that
one that
well
worries me
is,
more than anything else.
yeah,
Because at one time, remember when we had a problem with the where the Red Rock is, and they could not get the ice maker wouldn't work. Remember that? And that was because their well was shallow and there was salt residue that was getting into their well. So, there's a concern there about just, the whole thing that I'm just concerned about it.
yeah, no, on that's a good point. On the well, what I've done is, I met the setback distance in the Upton code to the driving surface, and obviously the force main and the building footprint. In my mind, the driving surface, maybe we could get a little closer to the driving surface and the building footprint, in lieu of maybe a little more distance to the wetland. And the other thing I thought about is maybe we could talk to a well driller about how that well is finished. Obviously, we're envisioning a drilled well.
Yep.
So you're caved through that unconsolidated material, then you're into bedrock. You can grout that boot, and then you can be sure that you're drawing water from below, not from the the lake.
Yeah, no, we had a dilemma when Hopkinton Lake, or the pond over there, was drained. There were people that all of a sudden their wells went dry.
Yeah, not good. Yeah.
Yeah, when it went down. In any case, that's the one thing that concerns me is a well location. Is it just close to the wetlands and close to the water?
So just, I don't have those staked out. Those positions aren't staked, but you should be able to find really close to where you are by keying off the ribbons that are there. The wetland ribbons are everywhere.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We will have Ted and our agent go over there, find a time
Awesome.
with you, because essentially we don't want to infect the well. We don't want to get in trouble with the Conservation Commission. So therefore, we'll have to have a good look at the plan that you're going to generate, or the information you're going to give our agent. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So after we work with you guys, obviously, last thing I wanted to say is we clearly do need to go to the Conservation Commission, and I'm aware of that. But yeah, sounds good. I'll wait to hear from you, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
Thank you,
Diane.
Diane.
Thanks, John.
Bye, guys.
Anybody
Bye.
else online that wants to say anything?
Do we have any information on that well, like when it was put in and how deep it is?
I don't believe he has a well yet. The well still has to be drilled.
How about the other well that's on this plan?
There's a well, he's got a proposed well, but there's no plumbing fixtures in this building. There's no septic. There's no existing well.
Okay, good.
All right.
Because I tried to get this to come up, and I can't. Let's see, I'm 150, and That's an existing well that I'm talking about.
Well, there may be an existing well because the area that he's bringing the septic to, there's another property close by. So I think he's showing you an existing well that may
Right.
be to another house.
Right, I'm showing the well on number 1, Wildwood. There's a well on number 5, Wildwood. So we located those. There's one on number 3, and then there's another one, and I don't know the number, 5, I guess it is. So we've got everybody's well located just to be sure we're not intruding upon their well shields. The proposed well is near this one that says 5A. That's where we're talking right there. Yep, there you go. I saw the mouse move.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, guys.
Have a great day.
All right, we'll be in touch, John.
All right, be well.
Thank
You
you, you too.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Oh, I don't think we can yet. Wait. I have 2 other things. We still have 57 Taft Street that has to be reviewed.
Okay, pull it up.
We didn't get to that one. This is a repair.
Oh,
This
yeah.
has to be done as soon as possible. This has been reviewed and approved by Paul.
Okay, move to accept.
Second.
Want to vote on it?
Al Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. This makes it unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think that's it for plans. And then I have a food permit for Kelly's Farm, who wants to open up this coming week. The food inspector is making arrangements to meet with him. And he's very similar to a grocery store. The state is allowing food
Right.
markets and outdoor things like that to take place. She's going to go over with him, maybe put up some signs that say, please do not touch the food until you're ready to purchase it. But she'll go over everything with him before he actually opens up.
I'm good with
Sounds
that.
good to me.
Yeah.
Open for a motion?
Move to accept, approve.
Second.
Okay,
I'll
and
ask
vote.
for a vote on it.
Al Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. That makes it unanimous.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, and hang on, what else do I have here? Bear with me 1 minute. Okay, we did that. Oh, and the last thing that I have is an animal permit for chickens on 55 Plain Street. She has 7 chickens. And before I issued that, I just wanted to make sure you guys were okay with it.
Yeah, I'm okay.
Has it been checked by our animal control?
Yep, he does his barn inspections, yes. I always go over these with him before I actually issue the permit.
Okay. Move to accept.
Second.
I'll ask for a vote.
Aye. Al Holman.
Aye. Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. It's a unanimous vote. Thank you.
Okay, and I believe that is, I'm sorry, one more thing. We have to renew the animal control officer's appointment with the state.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Even though it's not May, the state wants us to do it by April 1st. So I just have to, I'm assuming we are going to nominate him again for
So moved.
animal control officer. Okay,
So moved.
so Mike Moran, animal control officer, approved.
Move to approve.
Second.
I'll ask for a vote.
Al Holman, aye.
Ted Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. Unanimous vote.
Okay. And I'm good.
Okay. I'll ask for another motion.
Move to adjourn. Move to
Does
adjourn.
anybody have any questions in the audience? I don't know if anybody's still with us.
There's
I see
nothing on
that
chat.
everybody-
There's nothing on chat.
Oh,
I think we're good. Okay, I'm sorry, did that motion carry?
Al Holman, aye.
Ed Briggs, aye.
Richard Desjardins, aye. Unanimous
Okay.
vote on adjournment.
2:48 PM.